These are the most cringe-worthy on-stage moments in professional darts since 2020, when top players suffered catastrophic failures under the spotlight that changed how we view pressure in the sport. From ear defenders at the World Championship to blood on the dartboard in the final, these incidents reveal what happens when elite athletes crack in front of millions of viewers. January 1st, 2023 gave us something unprecedented in darts history when the world #1 walked onto the stage at the PDC World Championship quarter-final wearing full-size industrial ear defenders. Gerwen Price had pre-arranged permission from the PDC, which makes what happened next even more remarkable. Price was trailing Gabriel Clemens 3-1 and facing relentless booing from the Alexandra Palace crowd. So when he returned to the stage with those massive ear defenders strapped to his head, the entire arena went silent in disbelief. Winning the opening leg of the 5th set in 12 darts, he taunted the crowd by mouthing, "I can't hear you." What happened next was a complete disaster. Price lost that set 3-1, switched to smaller earplugs for the 6th set, and got eliminated 5-1. Three-time world champion John Lowe accused him of turning the tournament into a circus, while commentator Wayne Mardle called it a sign of vulnerability, and Michael van Gerwen was blunt when he said he wouldn't have done that. Price later posted on Instagram that he wasn't sure he'd ever play in this event again, though he deleted the post shortly after. Eventually he admitted the truth, saying it didn't block out the crowd, and if anything it was 10 times worse, but he was just trying to prove a point. The PDC subsequently banned headphones and ear defenders on stage, a rule that exists today because of what Gerwen Price did on New Year's Day 2023. The clip became the most shared darts moment of the decade, covered by Sky Sports, BBC, ITV News, Euronews, and countless social media accounts worldwide. October 8th, 2024 brought Michael van Gerwen perhaps the most embarrassing single result of his career when Daryl Gurney whitewashed him 2-0 in sets at the World Grand Prix first round, which meant van Gerwen failed to win a single leg, scoring a maximum 180 in the final leg that left him on double free rather than a preferred double. He then missed 3 darts at it. Commentator Rod Studd declared that the 6-time champion had been dismissed, dispatched and destroyed on the big stage in one of the most embarrassing and humiliating defeats in Michael van Gerwen's career. This marked the first time van Gerwen had failed to win a leg in a televised ranking match in 13 years. The 2025 World Grand Prix brought another embarrassing moment when he nearly stumbled during his walk-on, which was described as almost disaster before a dart was thrown. And then he lost 2-0 in sets to Dirk van Duijvenbode while missing 11 attempts at a closing double. Van Gerwen also provided memorable broadcast gaffes that went viral, like when he called himself an old bastard live on Sky Sports after losing the January 2025 World Championship final 7-3 to Luke Littler, which prompted an on-air apology from presenter Abigail Davies. Then at the 2026 Premier League Night 1 in February, he blurted out, "It's about fucking time," during a live interview with Wayne Mardle, and had to catch himself mid-sentence and apologise to camera. The most costly collapse came at the 2023 Players' Championship Finals final on November 26, 2023, when Van Gerwen hit a 9-dart finish against Luke Humphries to go 3-2 ahead and built a commanding 9-5 lead. Humphries won 6 consecutive legs for an astonishing 11-9 victory, with Van Gerwen missing 8 darts at doubles in the crucial 20th leg. Admitting afterward that he was 9-5 up and from that position he wasn't allowed to lose, he knew the collapse cost him £60,000 in prize money. Difference. October 30th, 2025 at Players' Championship, 34 in Wigan, brought what commentators called one of the most bizarre legs you will ever see when Peter Wright played against world number 137 Titus Koenig. Wright had 20 remaining and needed double 10, but he spent 2 full visits aiming at double 6 because he believed he had 12 left instead. Hitting single 6 with his first dart, he then aimed at double 3 and busted his score, and when he returned to the oche, he aimed at double 6 again and missed all 3 darts. Commentators were stunned and said they didn't know what he was doing, asking if he thought he was on double 6, which he did, and urged him not to hit and to please look at the monitor. Eventually realising his mistake and hitting double 10, he still lost the match, 6-3. Wright's decline produced other painful moments, like when the 2-time world champion was whitewashed 3-0 by Jim Williams at the 2023/24 World Championship in December. 2023 while dressed in a Grinch costume with matching trousers and cheerleader pom-poms. Averaging just 83.87 and making only 4 of 18 doubles, the performance was hard to watch. At the 2025/26 World Championship, debutant Arno Merck whitewashed him 3-0 with Wright averaging a dire 79.20, which prompted Michael van Gerwen to publicly tell media it was time for Wright to retire. Wright later abandoned his trademark snakebite persona entirely and appeared without the punk-style mohawk, confessing he doesn't want to be snakebite anymore. January 1st, 2024, at the World Championship quarterfinal, saw Chris Dobie race to a 4-0 lead over Rob Cross while averaging over 100 and nailing big checkouts, including a 161, and he'd won 10 consecutive sets, including his previous match. The collapse that followed was devastating. Cross fought back set by set as Dobie's checkout percentage cratered from excellent to just 33% for the entire match, and Cross completed the first ever comeback from 4-0 down in a World Championship quarterfinal by winning 5-4. Sky Sports commentator Stuart Pike called it a darting miracle, but here's what makes this truly crushing. Cross had previously come back from 8-2 down against Dobie at the 2022 World Match Play, which meant this wasn't bad luck but a genuine pattern. December 21st, 2024 at the World Championship brought disaster for 5-time world champion Raymond van Barneveld when his iconic Eye of the Tiger walk-on went catastrophically wrong. The music started, abruptly halted, restarted, then dropped out entirely and was replaced by Dynamite by SATV Music, which was a completely unfamiliar track. Van Barneveld was visibly bewildered during his walk to the stage and went on to lose 3-1 to Nick Kenny, saying afterward that it made no sense at all and he didn't feel at home for a moment that night. The mix-up had actually begun days earlier when Croatian debutant Romeo Grubovac was accidentally given Van Barneveld's Eye of the Tiger as his walk-on song in the first round, and Ryan Joyce was also introduced with Ryan Michaels' walk-on music at the same tournament. Plus Florian Hempel was given Rocket Man instead of his chosen tune at the 2022/23 edition. All of this revealed a systemic problem with the PDC's music operations that affected multiple major tournaments. February 9th, 2026 at Players Championship 1 brought something even stranger when William O'Connor incorrectly threw first in. Leg free instead of opponent Mario van den Bogarde, and neither player noticed until the caller paused the match. The leg was scrubbed and restarted, which was a virtually unheard of occurrence, and commentator Paul Nicholson said he couldn't say he'd seen that before, at least not on the stream. December 19th, 2025 in the first round of the World Championship saw Leonard Gates and Mickey Mansell combine for a staggering 66 darts to complete a single leg, with 33 darts each. Top professionals typically finish a leg in 12 to 15 darts, and a perfect leg requires just 9, so this was embarrassing to watch. Social media erupted with one fan writing that they'd seen better darts thrown in their local, and this was without doubt the worst game of darts they'd ever seen, calling it an absolute embarrassment to the game. Another fan added that Luke Littler has won a set in fewer darts, and Gates eventually won the match 3-2 despite that calamitous leg. The same tournament saw Dimitri van den Berg miss 16 out of 17 attempts at a double, and lose 3-0 to Scottish debutant Darren Beveridge, which was one of the most humiliating exits for a high-profile player. Alan Suter and Timo Harju combined for 19 missed match darts, with 15 from Sauter and 4 from Harju, forcing the tournament's first sudden death leg before Sauter finally found double 16. The greatest player in darts history provided his own painful postscript to a legendary career when Phil Taylor was whitewashed 3-0 by Kevin Painter on February 5th, 2022 at the inaugural World Seniors Darts Championship, and Painter was a player he'd beaten in their previous 31 meetings since 2001. Taylor was visibly shaken and brutally honest afterward, saying he'd got the right hump because he'd embarrassed himself in front of people who had paid good money to see him. His final competitive match came at the 2024 World Seniors Championship, when he lost in the first round to unknown debutant Manfred Bildel while averaging just 74.53. Taylor later admitted he couldn't perform like Phil Taylor could perform, so it broke his heart a little bit, and he said his body had changed, watching the greatest player of all. Time's struggle to win a single set in the senior circuit was uncomfortable for everyone who witnessed it. February 12, 2026 at Premier League. Night 2 in Antwerp brought a nightmare for Josh Rock when his darts repeatedly slipped from his fingers during his match against Michael van Gerwen, and at one critical moment he aimed for 20 but hit one as the dart slipped from his hand. Commentator Rod Studd exclaimed, "Oh my word, what on earth?" while Rock averaged a dreadful 79.34 over 8 legs and missed 11 of 13 checkout attempts before losing 6-2. Publicly apologizing on Instagram, Rock wrote that he wanted to apologize to everyone who watched him, saying he felt fantastic up there but had no grip on his fingers. Wayne Mardle warned that Josh Rock wouldn't be able to forget about that until he put things right. The years from 2020 to 2026 produced several devastating instances of players missing crucial match darts in high-stakes situations, and the financial and psychological costs were enormous. Michael van Gerwen missed 8 match darts against Simon Whitlock at the 2020 Grand Slam quarter-final on November 22, 2020, and lost 16-15 after leading 15-13, with Whitlock never being ahead in the match until the winning dart. Michael Smith missed 3 match darts in the deciding 21st leg of the 2020 Masters Final on February 2, 2020 against Peter Wright, marking his 5th major final loss at the time and costing him £35,000 in prize money difference. Belgium's Kim de Decker and Dimitri van den Berg missed 7 match darts from 3-0 up against the Philippines at the 2025 World Cup of Darts in June 2025, losing 4-3 for their earliest tournament exit ever. Dimitri van den Berg missed 6 match darts in the 2024 UK Open final on March 3, 2024 against Luke Humphreys after leading 7-2, though he eventually survived to win 11-10 in a deciding leg. What we're seeing isn't just a collection of individual blunders, but rather a revealing portrait of how the psychological pressure of elite darts amplifies small failures into spectacular theatre. The sport's intimate stage setup creates conditions for embarrassment that team sports simply cannot replicate, with one player alone at the oche and 3,000 people screaming. The trend is accelerating as social media virality means moments like Gerwin Price's ear defenders or the Alexandra Palace Wasp now reach audiences of millions within minutes, transforming what once would have been footnotes into defining career moments. The PDC's expansion of televised coverage has increased both the sport's global profile and the number of cameras capturing every grimace, stumble, and miscount. Players like Van Gerwen and Wright, whose careers span the pre-viral and post-viral eras, face a stark contrast, with their recent struggles documented with a granularity that their early career mishaps never were. The dartboard forgets nothing, and in 2026 neither does the internet.